Hi, Trinity Tots. It's me, Pastor Ashley. Are you ready to do an art project this morning? Awesome. So I have with me a couple of things that I'm going to use this morning, but you can use whatever you have at your house today, and I'll show you how. The first thing, though, that I'm going to use is this little cardboard wooden, or not wooden, cardboard painting board. And I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to use paint today because I like to use paint. If you have paints at your house, you can use those. Maybe you have finger paints. But if you have crayons or markers, those will work too. Or if you have watercolor paints like this, where you make your paintbrush wet and then you make your paint wet, you can use these too. If you're using this kind of paint, you're probably not going to want to use a cardboard like mine. You're probably going to want to use just paper, or maybe you even have some nice thick paper. This is kind of like construction paper, and this works really, really well with watercolor paints. But if you're going to want to use this kind of paper and watercolor paints, then you're also going to want to go and find a white crayon. I don't have a white crayon in my hand, but if you have a white crayon like this, then you're going to want to use that, okay? Okay, now, if you're using paper or cardboard, we're also going to use this kind of tape. This is like a green tape. Now, when we pull the strips of this kind of tape, we don't want to stick them onto our board really, really tight, okay? And we're going to get two pieces of tape. I have one, it's kind of about this long, about the width of my face. And I'm going to just stick it there for a second. And the other one needs to be even longer. So maybe this one is going to be the length of my face this way. Oh, it's even a little bit longer than that. Probably like that. How big is your face? Can you measure your face in tape? Don't stick it on your face, though. You might get your hair stuck in there, and that wouldn't be fun. So I'm going to stick mine right onto my little cardboard board here. One in the middle, just like this. And if you're using paper, don't stick it down too tight, okay? Too hard. Don't push down too hard because you're going to want to peel it up later, and you're going to have to do that really carefully. Now, if you don't have tape like this, you can still use a white crayon on paper and you can draw a line going all the way down. Or if you're using watercolor paints, like I showed you before, and paper, you're going to want to take your crayon and go all the way down like this. And just make a nice big stripe. Yours doesn't have to be as big as mine, but you can do one long all the way from the top, all the way down to the bottom, just like this. Okay? All right. Now, I've got this other little piece of tape. Remember? We just made this one a few minutes ago. We need to put this one onto our board as well. So this one, I'm going to make a cross with this piece of tape. So I want you to think, when you think about a cross, do you think I'm going to put it down here, right in the middle? Closer. I'm actually going to go all the way up here. And that's almost like a letter T. You can make this shape with your body. If you stand up nice and tall and you put your arms out like this, you kind of look like this shape. That's a cross. And a cross is an important thing about Easter. And I'm going to tell you the story of Easter with the colors that we're going to use in our picture. So if you're using crayons or you're using markers, that's okay. Or if you're using watercolor paints, that's okay too. If you've used a white crayon to make this line up and down, now is a good time to use your white crayon to make another line going this way, side to side up here. Okay? All right. We're going to tell the story of Easter with the colors that we use in our picture today. So if you have your markers or crayons with you, or maybe you have paints or watercolors, you're going to need the colors green, red, orange, yellow, pink, white, purple, and black. It's lots of colors. Okay, we're going to get into it together, and I'm going to go through all of the colors, and you can follow along with the stuff that you have at home, okay? So if you've put tape on your board, that's great. If you've used white marker, that's good too. And it doesn't matter if you're using crayons or markers or colors, watercolors, or something else. Okay, but the first color that I'm going to use in my painting today is green. Now I'm going to go across the top of my picture. I'm going to make nice big stripes. You don't have to do that. You could put the colors on anywhere you want. And if you color over that green tape, that's okay too. You don't have to be careful going around the shape that we already made. You can put your colors wherever you want, but I'm going to start up here. And I'm going to start with the color green. See, I can go right over that tape and it's totally okay. And you'll see why later. Now I'm using the color green because in my Easter story, in the Easter story in the Bible about Jesus, we celebrate Palm Sunday. That's the first day of Holy Week, which is the whole week we celebrate Easter and the Easter story. And I'm using the color green because on that Sunday, Jesus rode into Jerusalem and the people waved palm branches for Jesus. And they shouted, Hosanna, Hosanna to the King. And they were very excited when Jesus rode into Jerusalem. They didn't quite understand the kind of king that Jesus was, but they were very excited. And so they waved green palm branches. And we're going to do that too on Palm Sunday. So if you come to the parking lot pickup on Saturday, you will get a green palm branch too. All right, wonderful. So the next color that I have is the color purple, because after Jesus came into Jerusalem, he had a very special dinner with his friends. And at the end of that special dinner, he poured a cup of wine, which is like grape juice, and it was purple. And when he poured that cup of grape juice for his friends, he said to his friends, "This cup is my blood poured out for you." That maybe sounds a little bit scary. What did Jesus mean by that? Jesus knew that he was going to die on the cross. That's the whole story of Easter, is that Jesus died for us on the cross, right? And he told his friends that that was going to happen. And that every time they shared a cup of the grape juice or wine like that, that they should remember that. And even though it was very sad that Jesus was going to die, it was going to be such a good thing because he was going to give his life for us. And we'll talk about that as we keep going with our picture. So there we go. That's why I have purple in my picture. All right, now the next color is red, because Jesus said, "This cup is my blood poured out for you." And so red is kind of like the color blood, right? Now, we don't like it when we get hurt and we need a Band-Aid. And when we have blood, we don't like that at all. And Jesus didn't like it either. But it was really important because Jesus's blood paid for our sin and our sickness and sadness. And Jesus was willing to have his blood poured out for us. It's an amazing gift that Jesus gave. But no Band-Aid could really fix it. See, Jesus poured out his blood for us to pay for our sin. And sin is the next color that we're going to use here on our board. I'm going to use black because sin doesn't make us feel very good. And sadness and sickness, they don't make us feel very good. It's kind of a black color that we use. The Bible also tells us that when Jesus was on the cross, even though it was in the middle of the day, the whole world was so sad because Jesus took all of the sadness and sickness on him when he died. The whole world was so sad that the sky actually turned dark, even though it was in the middle of the day. It was very sad. So Jesus died on that cross, and he took all of our sin and sadness and sickness on himself. And even though it was a very sad and dark day that Jesus died on the cross. We call it Good Friday. It was on a Friday. We call it Good Friday because it was such a good thing that Jesus was willing to take all of that for us so that we don't have to carry that without him. And Jesus died, and his friends were very sad, and they put him in a tomb. And they rolled a big stone in front of the tomb. And how long was Jesus in that tomb? Do you know? It's 3 days, 3 very sad, long days. But on the morning of the third day, some of Jesus's friends got up very, very early in the morning. And have you seen what color the sky is when the sun is just coming up right now in the mornings when we get up for school and to get busy with our day? We can see the colors first thing in the morning. And there's a little bit of yellow in the sky. And there's a little bit of pink. This is my favorite color that I see in the morning sky. And there's a little bit of orange too. And so I put those colors into my picture here because they remind me that Jesus's friends went very early in the morning to go to his tomb. And they went there to be sad because they were very sad that Jesus had died and they missed Jesus very, very much. They were his good friends. But when they got there, something really amazing happened. They got there, and the stone that had been put in front of Jesus's tomb was gone. It had been rolled away. And they were about to get a big surprise. So the last picture, the last color I'm going to put in my picture is white. Did I mention white earlier? Maybe I forgot to mention white, but there's white in our picture too. If you don't have white, you can just leave the paper white too. That's okay. But we use the color white, and I'm going to put some here at the bottom of my picture. You could use that white crayon if you're using a white crayon. You could put that here at the bottom of the picture too. We use white because when Jesus's friends got to the tomb and they saw that the stone was rolled away, they also saw angels dressed in white who were sitting there. And Jesus wasn't there, but the angels were. And they said, Jesus isn't here. He is risen, which means he didn't stay dead. He came back to life. He triumphed over all the darkness and sadness and sin. Triumphed means he won. He made it no more. He was king over it. And the angel said, he's not here. He is risen. He is alive. Do you think that made Jesus's friends very excited? They were very excited. They went running to go and tell the rest of Jesus's friends that Jesus is alive. He is risen. And that's what we celebrate on Easter Sunday morning. We come to church sometimes on Good Friday and we talk about how important it is that Jesus died for our sin and he shed his blood for us, all of those things. But on Easter Sunday morning, when we come to church, we are just as excited as Jesus's friends were when they first learned that Jesus is risen. He is risen indeed. So I have all of the colors of the Easter story right here in my picture. But I want to show you now, I'm going to take this tape off. And if you have tape on your paper, you're going to want to do this really careful. You might even want mom or dad to help you. Look at this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I have a cross because Jesus died on the cross. But I've kept my cross white. You know why? Because when Jesus died and he took away all of that black sin, the Bible tells us that Jesus' blood turns us white as snow. He makes us clean on the inside. That's what the Easter story is all about. And that's what we celebrate, that Jesus is risen from the dead and he has given us new life. And he's taken our sin away and made us white and clean. So this is an art project that you can do, or you can just use the colors, any of the colors from this picture in any of the pictures that you want to make. If you want to color one of these coloring sheets that were in your parking lot pickup, you can do that too. One idea, you see how there's flowers down here at the bottom? You could put some glue with a glue stick on those flowers, and you could put little scrunched up bits of paper like this, and you could make beautiful flowers, and you could color the rest of the picture. You could use your markers or crayons or paints, and you can make a beautiful picture. Look down here, it says, Jesus is risen. That's what we celebrate at Easter. You could use any of these colors in any of the pictures that you'd like to make, and you can remember how all of those colors help tell the story of Easter and what's so special about Easter. So those are just some things that you can do that can be really fun. I would love to see what your pictures look like, or what ideas you have of how you could make a picture that tells what's so wonderful and fun about Easter. So that's just an idea to get you started, Trinity Tots. And I hope you have lots of fun. And I'd love to see what your pictures look like. If you want to bring me one of your pictures on Saturday, if you come for the parking lot pickup, or if that's already passed, you can still bring it to me or email me a picture of it, and I will make sure that it gets included on Easter Sunday morning so that everybody can see the beautiful artwork that you made to worship God. And make sure you put your name on it too, so that I know who you are and can make sure that I get it back to you and everyone can see that that was something you made. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you have lots of fun. I'd love to see your pictures, and I hope that you enjoyed making a picture with colors to tell the story of Easter. Bye, everybody.